Now, some of you may be thinking, Janet, why are you talking about Trump's birthday? The man's X account has been reinstated. He's hinting he'll be running for a third term. What else is there to say? And you know what? Fair point. It's like he's got limitless power and can do what he wants. But then this little nugget of news hit my desk. Trump wants a military parade on his birthday, which, for those of you who may not be familiar with the finer points of American history, just so happens to be on Flag Day, which is also, coincidentally, the United States Army's birthday. Now, I'm not saying that Trump demanding a parade for his birthday is a sign of... Actually, yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. Because let's be honest, this isn't about celebrating the army. It's about stroking the fragile ego of a man who measures his self-worth in the decibel level of applause. We've seen this song and dance before, haven't we? The lust for military parades, the insatiable need to flex nationalistic muscle in the most ostentatious way possible. It's a tale as old as time, or at least as old as, well, the USSR. Remember those May Day parades in Red Square? Tanks the size of small houses? ICBMs that could reach the moon if you gave them a good push and a really long ladder? All rolling past while stern-faced men with enough medals to make a Christmas tree look understated looked on approvingly. These weren't just celebrations. They were carefully choreographed displays of power designed to intimidate rivals and reassure their own citizens that, hey, at least they weren't living in capitalist hellholes. And speaking of not living in capitalist hellholes, let's high-step our way over to North Korea, shall we? A country where goose-stepping soldiers and synchronized missile launchers are as commonplace as a Starbucks on every corner in New York City. Kim Jong-un, the current maestro of this militaristic symphony, clearly learned a thing or two from his father and grandfather. These parades aren't just about showing off military might. They're about reinforcing the regime's grip on power. It's a way of telling the North Korean people, look at all this shiny military hardware. You should be grateful we're protecting you from the evil outside world. Now get back to work, you filthy peasants. And don't even think about asking for a slightly larger rice ration. But hey, why stop at communist dictatorships? Let's rewind the clock a bit further and visit Nazi Germany. Hitler, a man who knew a thing or two about using spectacle to manipulate the masses, was a big fan of a good military parade. The Nuremberg rallies, with their torchlight processions, synchronized marches, and chilling displays of military might, weren't just about celebrating German strength. They were about fostering a dangerous sense of nationalism and obedience. It was propaganda on an epic scale, designed to intimidate opponents and stir up fervent support for a regime that was anything but grand. And if we're talking about dangerous displays of nationalism, we can't forget about Imperial Japan. Their military parades weren't just about showing off their military toys. They were about reinforcing the idea of Japanese superiority and their divine right to rule over Asia. It was a toxic mix of military might and nationalistic fervor that ultimately led them down a path of destruction. These parades weren't just celebrations, they were warnings. And finally, no discussion of military parades would be complete without a trip to modern-day China. The Communist Party, never one to miss an opportunity for a good show, has turned military parades into an art form. Whether it's celebrating the anniversary of the People's Republic or showcasing their latest military hardware, these parades are all about projecting an image of strength and unity to both their own citizens and the world at large. It's a message that's hard to ignore, especially when it's delivered with thousands of goose-stepping soldiers and enough missiles to make even the most jaded dictator blush. So, where does that leave us with Trump's birthday parade that never was? A parade that, let's be honest, was probably more about satisfying his own ego than honoring the troops. It's a question worth pondering, because while there's nothing inherently wrong with celebrating our armed forces, we should always be wary of displays of military might that seem more about stroking the ego of a single individual than honoring the sacrifices of many.